Hi, I'm Peter Leong. I'm the Executive Director of Being at Full Potential New Zealand, and I've been working with this Human Potential Assessment tool and its methodology since 2015. And I have with me today Vanessa Smith, and she will say a few words.
Hi, thanks, Peter. I'm Vanessa. I work in the area of change and creativity in organizations, and have been working with Being at Full Potential in sort of human potential development for about 5 years now. I've lost count. Thanks.
Thank you. So we'll just share our presentation screen now, and then we can carry on. Here we go. I hope you can see the screen. Here's the structure of our presentation. You see the title at the next slide, and then we'll go on to tell you a bit more about what human potential realization is, its benefits, and why is it that we shy away from the work of human potential realization. Now we can quantify the unquantifiable, and the rest of the slides will tell you a bit more details of the human potential assessment tool since we created it since 2014. So, and by the way, you can access the PDF of this PowerPoint presentation from my folder. So let's carry on. The title of this presentation, to make it formal, is Making Intangible Human Potential Realization Tangible. And by doing so, we believe that it will be the driver of expanded human capabilities for the world tomorrow.
So yeah, one of the questions that we just wanted to, we thought we would make this a little bit conversational, but we'll see where we go. So we were just wondering, what goes on in your mind when you think of the two words human potential?
Yeah, human potential, generally when we ask the question, it's a bit fuzzy. So probably the first question would be, what is my human potential? Of course, the next question is, can I measure it? Or can anyone measure it? How much of my human potential is being realized now and in future, maybe? Is it static? Is human potential static? Is it evolving? I think most of us intuitively know the answer to that. How do I access my human potential? And how can I live up to my human potential? These are some of the questions that one of our coaches wrote in an article, and I think it speaks for many of us. At the end of it, really, what this topic is about how we can unleash human potential. And we all know the saying, if I can measure it, then I can improve it.
So why is our human potential assessment tool important and beneficial to organizations?
I think the importance of human potential assessment is that, first of all, while the world has changed rapidly, our basic human needs does not change at all. It is always there. Mm. And what is the basic human need? It's basically we feel the happiest and most fulfilled when we are able and have the opportunity to live at one's highest potential. So life becomes meaningful and joyful, irrespective of the external pressures and challenges that we face, especially in our world today. So other organizations, like Accenture, for example, connect the unlocking of human potential, as you can see in the last quote there, an increase in business performance. So ultimately, it's about people's performance and organizational performance.
Okay, and why do leaders and managers tend to shy away from doing this work, from unlocking human potential in people?
Yeah, Vanessa, I think you'll be able to guess this as well, I'm sure. We live in the world of big data. Leaders and managers today love data because they're tangible, they're manageable. As we say, what you measure, you can improve. That's why they like it. And but at the same time, it has not been easy to measure human potential, we believe, until now. Yes, other people have done it, but it is quite involved, complex, and maybe even costly. So in actual fact, human potential data are not readily accessible. Human potential realization, of course, is fuzzy. And we said in one of the papers I wrote that working with humans is actually messy and people tend to shy away from it. Last but not least, yeah, that's it. As I say, last but not least, they shy away from doing the work of human potential realization. It's not tangible, not readily accessible.
Yeah, it's so. All right, so we have actually, we've been trying to defy gravity and quantify the unquantifiable dimensions of human potential realization through through a system that we have developed. Peter, do you want to explain that?
Thanks, Vanessa. Vanessa, you have been using this tool yourself over the time with being a full potential, whilst you were overseas. The human potential assessment model, we know it's created in the first place, and we know today that it's consistently measured and make tangible 23 dimensions that we can measure of a person's or of how much a person's human potential is being realized. As you can see, there are 4 basic states, and we put it in the image of a house, the metaphor of a house. The foundation is always being aware, and we have the other 3 states: being inspired, being abundant, and being in service. And as you can see, under each state, we have 5 or 6 dimensions. In total, 23 dimensions.
And so can you tell us a little bit more about the assessment model?
Yeah. One of our coaches, again, wrote an article and said that it's clear this is not a personality assessment or test. It doesn't categorize you and your results in comparisons with other, what do you say, a sample size of maybe hundreds of thousands of people. When you do the assessment, it's not something that makes you instantly happy, or it would immediately help you to live up to your full potential. It's nothing like that. You can say it connects intuitively. This is an intuitive assessment, and it's drawn from both, developmental research knowledge in adults as well as wisdom traditions. And we know that each person is unique in its own right, so it will reflect that, being intuitive. And of course, we use the self-assessment, the human potential become a self-assessment and a self-realization tool, and it's just opened up the door for transformation, as we shall see later in the presentation.
Yeah, so one of the things that we have done is, all the things that that assessment does is open up a conversation which is very generative. Could you explain a little bit more about that, Peter?
Yes, and before we do that, if those of you who are interested in generative conversation, check out Vanessa's page, and she has a beautiful video talking about generative conversations. So we know that one of the drivers of change is new narratives, all right? In other words, language matters when we want to change and shift people's mindset. And here, the benefit we add is that we all, besides language, we also provide measures or metrics that can help in generating conversations, what we call transformational conversations. So we'll leave this at this point in time because, you know, we have this, as I said, just try and access Vanessa's workshop, and you'll find a lot more information there. Thank you.
So now we are wanting to move into the evolution and validation of human potential, this tool. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I think both leaders, managers, academics, one of the first things they say is how valid is this tool? It's not so much validation, has it been used, how many people have accessed it and used it. So we have created tools since 2014, and the first tool that was created was for individual assessment. As you can see on the left-hand side, one part of the report will show you the 23 dimensions ranked according to the green, which is most expressed, or the red or yellow, which is underexpressed or expressed. So there we have the tangible data of human potential realization in relation to the assessment that the person has done. So this is how we started, an individual that coaches can use to unlock potential of individuals.
And then we moved on to an organizational view of it. So we went from the individual to the organization. Tell us about that, Peter.
Yes. So after a few years of, experiencing with the coaches that use this tool, it's natural that we see a lot of potential for application in the organization. Organizational design and development. If you have data like this, you can gain valuable insights into that. Huge potential in transformational leadership development and also conscious culture. As I said earlier, there's a white paper being written on this called Conscious Culture. Now, this image here shows the 23 dimensions plus the 8 attitudes. These are mostly invisible, but now we can produce data that can help to drive 6 performance metrics, and that is getting things done, inventiveness, trustworthiness, customer orientation, employee engagement, and self-leadership. Through our research, any leader of organizations generally agree that these are powerful drivers that can be manifested in an organization.
Wow. And then we went back down a level from the organization, the big picture, to the sort of middle place, which is the place where a lot of potential shows up, is in the team, the area of the team. That's
right. In the area of a team, and Vanessa, you have conducted many workshops while you were in Europe on this new tool that we have developed just about 2 years ago. And I think maybe you can share a few words on this, but essentially what we measure, besides the dimensions of human potential, as we do in our standard assessment, we see team measures in these 5 statements here, as you can see for yourself on the screen. And maybe Vanessa, you might want to add just your experience of it. Yeah.
the team do the assessment individually, and then we correlate the scores, and then we come up with a diagram like this one, and then they can all see where they are stronger, where they're not so strong, and that generates a conversation. So it's really sort of it generates a very pointed conversation about what, about where and why, and very much about who each team member is. And in my experience, it really gets the team to have a look at themselves from the outside in a way, and then come from the inside out. And they reconnect after this experience at a sort of a whole different level. And they start to see themselves as differently from, from the way that they were seeing themselves. And it really, it's an exciting experience to go through with the team, to see how people sort of shift from one level of awareness to another with this tool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add here that, in today's turbulent world, it is really high potential teams that really are the key drivers of organizational performance. So, we see a lot of potential use in this and benefits of this kind of training, full potential team assessment training.
Yeah, but just before we go on to that, I was just going to also add that there is it's about everybody sees themselves within the context of the whole. And so it's not about, just doing your piece of the puzzle only, but also it starts to make you realize how important your piece of the puzzle is too, in relation to everything else, but that none is more important than the other. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Thanks, Vanessa. Thank you.
So then we created last year, 2019, we created what we call the assessment tool. Can you tell us, it's about employability in the future of work assessment?
I think this employability assessment tool came about because we all know that employability is a rising issue in the world. Personally, I'm very passionate about working in communities that have a lot of unemployed youth or adults, because they are the ones that really where the need are in order to raise the level of their employability. Through requests from some of our partners, we created this employability assessment tool. And it is new. We hope to use this tool in New Zealand by working with community change partners. And we'd just like to say here that the big difference with our employability is it's not about this, not only about the skills and competencies that a unemployed youth or adult needs to find a job. It is about the person showing up as a better version of themselves, all right, by uncovering their full potential. The person is the one that gets developed in order to acquire the skills and the competencies needed for job. So it gives the opportunity for the youth, the unemployed youth, or the adults to really become a better version of themselves in the process of learning skills and competencies. And so just watch this space, because, we hope to be, running programs, pilot programs of this in New Zealand, if everything goes well.
what I love about this is the individual nature and the collective nature at the same time. So, you know, even if you just did the individual assessment alone, you discover so much about yourself, and then you can sort of start to focus on that. And it starts to have an effect on you, where you start to realize that, yes, what I have to give is of value, and that shifts something in you. And as you start to activate that, of course, it's affecting the energy levels around you and all the interactions that go on there as well. So it can be also quite inspiring.
Yeah.
And then we were moving on to, there was we got some testimonials and some and case studies for the assessment tool on the next slide.
Yeah, thanks. And just by the way, about back to the employability, we did run a pilot program for 10 unemployed youth about a year and a half ago. And what Vanessa says is true. Just by the mere fact of doing the employability assessment, first of all, it was opening a new world in their minds about who they are and what they are, without even going into the workshop training and the mentoring session. Thank you, Vanessa, for pointing that out, because this is exactly the experience I have with the youth. So here we are. We've got potential, sorry, I beg your pardon. We've got testimonials from Procter & Gamble, for example. The supermarket, Budgeons, they were the first supermarket, I believe, in the world to have a environmental free packaging. Let me step back. All their products, packaging, were all environmental friendly, and I believe they are one of the first supermarkets to ever do that. And we work with them using the human potential assessment tool. And last but not least, in terms of a case study, and this is ongoing, we, KS Saravana-san, the Director of Human Potential Resource, they have tested this tool in 2017 for 900 over leaders and managers. And then we ran just this year itself, and starting last year and this year, another set of assessments. So we have a lot of rich data on human potential assessment with regards to how a human resource person can look at potential on top of performance. So there are papers written on this, and those who are interested, please contact us and we'll share them with you. Oh yes, since we are at a conference like this, there are a lot of opportunities for those of you who want to partner with us to mine this data as a academic exercise. So please, again, contact us if you think this is of interest to you. And,
so I just
sorry.
Peter, your mic, I don't know if it's your microphone, but I'm getting distortion coming through. So
yeah,
it might be if you move it away from your, was it the rain?
It is the rain, unfortunately, so I can't stop that. I'll try and talk louder. Is it better?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
Well, we can't stop the rain.
You can't stop the rain. Okay. So there's a really interesting story going on behind this story as well. So it's it's connected to Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So it enshrined the right to education directed to the full development of the human personality, the right to enjoy the arts and share in the scientific advancement and its benefits. Can you say a few words about that?
Yeah, it's really quite interesting when I was doing this paper, and already back in 1948, there is a recognition of the full development of a human person. So our current vision is to try and democratize using our tool, making it accessible to as many people in our vision statement as possible. We call this democratizing of the development of human potential. What it does really is that it helps us to frame what are the quality of human capability and competencies that will enable the full development of the person. So I thought it would be a good way to end this presentation by saying that, you know, there's still a lot of vision that can be realized once we get to know these tools and this methodology better. So here we are. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Vanessa. Can you hear me?
I can hear you above the rain. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about the rain. I can't do anything about that. But if you want to contact us, here are our contact. We have, yeah, I'll leave it at that. And all the best for 2021.
Thank you.